Welcome to the first duel of the new and improved Yu-Gi-Oh! Generation Next tournament. Here, we are going to have Titan versus Banter. Now, starting off with Titan, he was one of the 7 Shadow Riders and somebody that Jaden has dueled before that. He played an Archfiend deck, and the Archfiends are kind of a clusterfuck of an archetype. It's really just like Konami had no idea what they wanted to do with it. They just wanted a bunch of scary looking monsters. And throughout the years, they even began to take a bunch of random normal monsters or even other effect monsters, and adding in the card text, this card is always treated as an Archfiend card. So I tried my best to stick to the original archetype, and then from there I either added generic Fiend support to boost it up in the side deck, or I also added a Summon Skull theme to it, because one of the biggest monsters that Titan actually played was Skull, Archfiend of Lightning, an effect version of Summon Skull that's significantly worse in my opinion, but we're going to get into that in a second. So the initial Archfiend monsters were actually all chess-based pieces, and they all had horrible freaking stats. In addition to that, whenever you have an Archfiend face up on the field, after you draw for your turn, you have to pay life points to keep it, and that's not optional at all. Like, you just lose life points for every single Archfiend that you keep on the field, and they all have a die effect. They're kind of like these RPG monsters. So whenever one of the Archfiends get targeted by a card effect by your opponent, so you yourself cannot trigger this, you have to roll a die and get one of 3 specific numbers, and if you get that number, then the targeting effect gets negated. Otherwise, really nothing happens. And some of them have additional effects. Really, Infernal Queen Archfiend's probably one of the best ones, because she can give an Archfiend monster 1,000 attack points. She can even give the 1,000 attack points to herself, I believe, and that lasts until the end of the turn, so that's pretty nice. But for the most part, this deck really sucks. Their best level 4 lower monster is the Terror King Archfiend, which you can't summon him if you don't already have another Archfiend on the field, so you're gonna pay the 500 life points plus whatever resources it takes to keep your monster alive just to get to this guy. Really sucks. But much better than him is the Archfiend General, because you can discard him to get straight to the Archfiend field spell Pandemonium, and with Pandemonium face up on the field, nobody has to pay for Archfiend effects that, keep them on the field. The, whole this is an optional part, you can just completely bypass that. The downside, just like a lot of other monsters that came from the GX era who have similar effects where you discard them to get the field spell, this guy can't exist without the field spell on the field. But, if you are able to get a copy of him early on, or just start the duel with Pandemonium as well, you also have 2 terraformings to help you get there. He is really nice. The tribute monsters work very separately, because the tribute monsters, the majority of them either also have the you must pay life points effect, or they have effects that cause you to pay life points to use their abilities, and they also come with effects outside of the Skull Archfiend of Lightning, where they involve destroying themselves at the end of the turn, or destroying another monster on your field. The best one here is Archfiend Commander, because you can just blow up any Archfiend card to summon him, and that's a special summon as well. He does have a ritual Archfiend Matador. It can't attack, but you don't take damage, and it can't die in battle. And whenever it fights an opponent's monster, it blows up the other monster after the damage calculation. And the reason that this is any, level of significance is because Titan actually never played the Pandemonium field spell. Instead, he played Dark Arena, where a player can choose what monster is going to be attacked, because the field is so dark that the monsters can't tell when their opponents are switching around. This is Yu-Gi-Oh, man. Falling Down is like a really horrible version of Snatch Steal, and you take 800 points of damage every opponent's turn. Since Summon Skull is 1 in Archfiend, and 2 way better than Skull Archfiend, the entire extra deck is actually based around Summon Skull. And they even have a ritual monster for Archfiend's Awakening, which pre-preparation of rites can help you get to really quickly. And while they all have different effects of their own that I'm not going to get into right now, they all have the shared effect that when they die, they can bring back the original Summon Skull. The entire side deck is really just Fiend support, with Red Resonator as your tuner to get to your Synchro over here. But the two biggest cards to really talk about are going to be Annihilator Archfiend, a level 9 who can blow up a card on each side of the field. And then, when he destroys a Fiend monster with this effect, he can increase his own attack with that. And the biggest combo piece with all of the different high-level monsters in here would be Call of the Archfiend. Call of the Archfiend can actually go into your graveyard and bring out all the level 5 and higher fiends, so it's pretty nice. I like it a lot. Bob Banter was actually an episodical character, and he had a quiz deck. To make a long story short, all these monsters and spells and traps are based around asking your opponent different questions or asking them to complete various challenges. This whole deck is like a giant game show deck, and despite it being a one-off episode, it's actually incredibly powerful. So the main monsters are the Slifer's, Obelisks, and Raw quiz panels. So with each point that's labeled on these monsters, the question or challenge gets incredibly difficult. The easiest one out of everything being Slifer's, do 20 push-ups within 10 seconds. And yes, they all have time limits. Generally though, the Slifer quiz panels are supposed to be significantly easier. It should be the Obelisk questions are okay and then the Raw ones are hard, but no. The level 10 Obelisk questions can give me the same amount of difficulty as the freaking Raw 30 quiz panels. And the other big reason why the points matter is because that tells you how much damage a person takes. 10 does 500 damage, 20 does 800 damage, and 30 does a massive 1200 damage. It's just ridiculous. These are all flip effects, and you don't have to attack them. You can flip them. The challenge is activated, then they destroy themselves and set the next level straight from the deck. It's absolutely bonkers, and there's just so many of them. To make it all worse, they have the continuous spell Quiz Hour, which can set the level 10 of all 3 straight from your deck. But if having 3 copies of Quiz Hour wasn't enough, you have 2 copies of Search Shock, which searches Quiz Hour. So it's just absolutely ridiculous. The only reason that Sphinx and Panel 9 are here, because believe me, they absolutely suck. They're only here to give the deck some sort of chance of bricking. Otherwise, this would be top 3 strongest decks in the entire tournament. Now, the reason that all these Synchros and Xyz that have nothing to do with each other are in this deck is because of a trap card in the side deck called Try and Guess. So, with Try and Guess, I declare Fusion, Synchro, or Xyz if both of us have an extra deck. And we have to show all the monsters that we both have of that type. Whoever has more is going to get 3,000 life points. This is bullshit, because in the GX era, obviously, nobody would have anything outside of fusions, or even if they do, their entire extra deck isn't going to be Synchros and Xyz. It's going to be a balance. So this is really cheap, and I just couldn't help myself. So this is Bob Banter, and just pray for Titan. It's showtime! Titan activates pre-preparation of rites, which will let him go into his deck and search for his ritual. That way he doesn't draw it, and it'll also search for his ritual spell card. Bob Banter starts off with right or left quiz. He holds this spell card behind his back, and the opponent must guess whether it's in the right or the left hand for 500 life points. He guessed wrong. Then he activates another right or left quiz. He guessed wrong again. It was in the left hand twice. It looks like Titan bricked. Another quiz panel face down. Titan keeps on bricking. Yet another quiz panel face down. Bob flips Obelisk 10. Your opponent must answer the following question within 10 seconds. Name the 3 cards needed to activate Huge Revolution. Torrential Tribute gets activated. All 3 quiz panels have been destroyed. Soldier Revolt has been declared. He failed. It's Titan's turn. He drew a terraforming. Welcome to the Dark Arena. He's finally ritual summoning. Monster Reborn. Archfiend Giant can protect his Archfiends from being destroyed by card effects. Obelisk 20. What is the total level of every monster in both players' graveyards combined? Titan guesses 3. Titan was right. Here comes an Xyz. That's it for Bob. Archfiend's Ascent is attacking. Obelisk 30. Name 3 cards that can cause an alternate win condition, but you only have 10 seconds. Final countdown. Exodia the Forbidden One ran out of time. Archfiend's Ascent can detach a material to protect himself. Another quiz panel has been set on the board. Desrook Archfiend. Raw for 20. Your opponent draws a card and reveals it to the crowd. If it's part of the archetype, he loses this game. It's an Archfiend card. Raw for 30. Bob Banter now picks 3 cards from his deck, and his opponent has to guess how many copies total of those 3 cards Bob has. Titan guesses 9. He guessed wrong. Surge Shock. Titan moves in for the attack. Another Obelisk 10. Name the 3 cards for Huge Revolution. Oppressed People. He ran out of time. Archfiend Ascent can revive a summoned skull. Obelisk for 20. Total level of all monsters in both graveyards. Titan guesses 23. Titan was right. He flips Obelisk for 30. Name 3 alternate win condition cards. Titan says Exodia the Forbidden One, Destiny Board. And final countdown. Sorry, there was a technicality. You still lose. It's Quiz Hour. 4 monsters are now on the board. Here's the Mist Archfiend. At the end of the turn, it will destroy itself, and Titan will take 1,000 damage. But Archfiend Commander will kill it first. Raw for 10. You must say Gaga Gigo, Giga Gaga Gigo, and go Giga Gaga Gigo 3 times each, typed out in only 10 seconds. Ooh, ran out of time. It's Raw for 20. Draw a card, and it better not belong to any archetypes. It's an Archfiend. Obelisk for 10. Oppressed People. It seems that Titan has surrendered. You lose! Titan uses the Archfiend General. There's pandemonium on the field! Here comes a second General. Bob sets 2 and passes. Titan sets a card so that he can use Card of Sanctity to draw 5. Bob only draws 2. He uses Terraforming. The Archfiend Palabyrinth is now on the field. All Fiend-type monsters that Titan controls will gain 500. It's the advanced ritual art. Summon Skull turns into the Archfiend's Awakening. Archfiend's Awakening cannot be destroyed by battle or other monster effects, unless that other monster is also a ritual. He uses Monster Reborn to revive the summoned skull. He tributes it. When Archfiend Commander is tribute summoned, he can revive a level 6 Archfiend in defense mode. The summoned skull is back again. Commander flips over. Raw for 10. Type Gaga Gigo, Giga Gaga Gigo, and go Giga Gaga Gigo 3 times each in 10 seconds. He fails. Vanity's Emptiness. Now that Titan knows that he can answer the next question successfully, he flips over this card. It destroys itself when one of his own cards goes to the graveyard, but no one can special summon, meaning no more quiz panels. Raw for 20. Draw 1 card, and it better not be an archetype card. He was right. Makiyu does not technically belong to any archetype. What will Bob do? Bob sets 3 and passes. He flips over Try and Guess so that he can gain additional life points because he stacked his extra deck. Banderillero Fiend can destroy 1 monster as soon as it's summoned, but Bob responds with Prophecy. He randomly picks a card in the Titan's hand. He must guess whether it has above 2,000 or less than 2,000 attacks. And if he guesses correctly, he gets to steal the card. He guesses above 2,000. He was wrong. It has exactly 2,000. Here comes a full-on frontal assault. How will Bob come back? Reversal Quiz. In order to activate Reversal Quiz, one must send every card on their side of the field and their hand to the graveyard. Then they must declare monster, spell, or trap. If the top card of their deck is that declared card, they will switch life points with their opponent. He declares monster. It was a spell. Bob has no cards left. Makiyu. Makiyu, the magical mist, will boost Summon Skull and Thunder-type monsters by 30% of their attack. This is game. You win. Final round. Begin! Bob opens with the search shock. It's quiz hour. How will Titan open? The advanced ritual art already. Here comes the difficult Archfiend's Awakening. A red resonator to summon a level 4 from his hand. The Archfiend's Call Synchro Monster. Obelisk for 10. You must name 3 cards to activate Huge Revolution. Titan gives up, but his ritual cannot be destroyed. Obelisk for 20. What is the total level of all monsters in both players' graveyards? Titan declares 13. He was wrong. Archfiend's Call will now revive a Summoned Skull. Obelisk for 30. 3 cards for an alternate win condition. Exodia. Exodius. He has run out of time. With a 2,500 point lead, Bob sets and ends. Here's the call of the Archfiend. Titan can now revive high-level Archfiends from the graveyard. Archfiend Cavalry has hit the field. Raw for 10. Gaga Gigo, Giga Gaga Gigo, and go Giga Gaga Gigo. He's failed. Raw for 20. Draw a card and reveal it. It's an Archfiend. When Cavalry is destroyed, it can revive an Archfiend, but it's not allowed to attack this turn. Raw for 30. Bob will now choose 3 cards from his deck, and the opponent must guess how many total copies he plays in this deck. Titan guesses 9 copies. He was wrong, but the ritual will not be destroyed. But he still takes the damage. A set and an end. During the end phase, the call of the Archfiends will bring back the mighty Annihilator Archfiend. Titan summons the Dark Bishop Archfiend. Annihilator Archfiend can destroy a monster on both sides of the field, completely bypassing one of the quiz panels. The last monster face down was Quiz Monkey, who can do nothing in this situation. The tides have turned. The life points are now even. Annihilator Archfiend will bypass this final monster. Call of the Archfiend returns the summoned skull to the field. And that is game. You win. Thank you for coming. Have a wonderful day.